All right, shalom, shalom. This is Brother Mayum coming at you from GMS Tampa Bay. First and foremost, I want to give all the praise and all the glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rechahak Wadash. Double honors to the elders apostles of Great Millstone, and much blessing and salutations unto the Akim around the four corners of the earth, who are diligently pushing out the truth and its truth and sincerity. And I just want to do a quick little lesson, just going into this chapter here, Matthew chapter 13. Just doing a little bit of reading, and the Spirit just hopped on me to go ahead and just turn the camera on. So, Lord's will is to be edifying, because we're getting ready to, we're in the times now where great tribulation is getting ready to come upon the earth. As a matter of fact, let's start off with Jeremiah 30, because things are going to get real tough here, and the reality of things is that's going to be presented, in the minds of everyone, or the battle that everyone's going to, initially go through is going to be a battle of the mind. And for those of you Israelites that are not battle tested, are not, having gone through particular dilemmas, going into, your mind and how to stand strong in what you believe in, are going to fold under pressure. Okay, so this is Jeremiah chapter 30. I'll start at verse 5. For thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Right, and this is the voice that you hear on the streets coming from the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai through the mouth of the prophets, is that evil and only evil has come. As it talks about in Ezekiel chapter 7, this is what we've been out here, telling the world, is that there is an evil that's here on this earth, and it's only going to get worse. As you've been seeing throughout the world, tensions have been rising. Okay, with Iran out there in the Middle East, you got all these different protests that have been happening throughout the different countries around the world. Okay, rumors of wars that have been heard. The economy, pretty much all week, things have been taking a big hit, especially in regards with the technology sector, cryptocurrencies. A lot of it has been crashing down. I believe I read earlier that Bitcoin is down like 50% from its high of last year, which I believe it was like 120,000 per Bitcoin last year that it hit, and now it's back down to like 60,000. I don't know exactly what it's at currently. Let me see. Yeah, currently right now, just off this Apple Stocks app, it shows Bitcoin here at 68,600. So it's gone down considerably. As a matter of fact, let me see if it shows a percentage. Yeah, it doesn't really show. But nonetheless, the point is that things are getting bad. Okay, things are not going to get better. And it's only going to continue to get worse. And this is the message of the prophets, is that there is no peace coming. Things are not going to get better. America will not become great again. And in part, the reason for that is because the Israelites are not going back under captivity under the Edomites, because that's when America was great, was when the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans were enslaved. Okay, and this is Lamentations 4 in just to the point 22. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. And see, this is what the Heavenly Father just said. Our punishment is, for our iniquity is accomplished. We serve the judgment and punishment that the Lord rendered unto us. Okay, but now the things that are getting ready to happen, okay, here on this earth, is going to be the final chastisement, for Jake to get right. Because although we're no longer going to go into captivity, because we still are in the captivity, for those of you that don't know, we still are in captivity. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are under the yoke of the so-called white man Esau Edom. According to the Bible, that's his biblical heritage. his biblical nationality is that of the Edomites. Okay, the sons of Esau. You are still very much under their yoke. Just because you're able to gad abroad doesn't mean that you're not a slave. They just call you by different names. Okay, different terminology. There's different terminology. Instead of just being a straight up slave, you're being called something else. Okay, you're being called an employee. You're being called a citizen, which here to being a citizen under Esau's name, or under his country, you're a slave to this place now, because not only are you having to be when you're born, your birth certificate, it shows you as a commodity. All right, you have your name in all caps. That's an asset. Okay, so but not only that, you're also indebted. Okay, I believe if you look at the U.S. debt clock, you see that the debt per citizen is, I forget, I don't know it off the top of my head, but you got a lot of money already owed to the government as soon as you're born. Okay, so because of these things, you are still you're still under this man's authority. and what the Lord is getting ready to do is bring about an end to this place. And because of the majority of you Israelites are so heavily tied to this system and this world that this devil has created, Esau, Edom, you're going to go down with it. And that's why this time period that we're getting ready to come into is going to be known as Jacob's trouble, because everyone's going to be going through it. Okay, as the systems that are in place of this world crumble, you Israelites, whether you're here in the Americas or the Caribbeans or scattered throughout the earth, you Israelites are heavily attached to these systems that have been put in place. Okay, and again, that's due in part to being, coming from being slaves, because you depended on this man to nourish you, to sustain you. And as the generations passed, Jake was just accustomed to living off the system. Okay, but that's why this place, when it falls, the fall of Jake is going to be the worst. That's why it's going to be known as the time of Jacob's trouble, because you are attached, and that life support is going to be cut off, and you're going to suffer greatly. Okay, and your mind is going to be tested, and that's going to be the first thing that a lot of you Israelites are going to go through, is the test of the mind. to show you, because that's what the Lord is going to do. He's going to show you how weak you are without him. And the Lord, the men of the Lord and the rest of the elect that have the Lord with them, he's going to show you how well he deals with those that he's with, because the elect is going to be good. As Yahushua prayed for the elect to be kept from the said evils, they're going to be, although in the midst of the trouble, they're going to be kept from it. They're going to be safe. Okay, as it talks about in Proverbs chapter 1. All right, but this is rest of Jeremiah 30, verse 6. Ask ye now, and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hand on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And the ones that are going to be saved out of it, once again, is going to be that of the elect. Okay, outside of that, if you're left behind, more than likely you're just not in America. Okay, because America as a whole is going to be completely destroyed, and the only ones that will escape the judgment here in America is going to be those that are of that number of the election. Okay, so let's go into this Matthew's chapter 5 or chapter 13, Salakia, because this is a great parable to show you the different mindsets that there are of Israelites, and how they're gonna how the mindset of these individuals is gonna be, especially in these times that we're getting ready to come into. And we already see this happening. Okay, but let's just get right to it. Matthew chapter 13, and I'll start at verse 1. The same day went Yahushua out of the house and sat by the seaside, and great multitudes were gathered together unto him, so that he went into a ship and sat, and the whole multitude stood on the shore. And he spake many things unto them in parables, saying, Behold, a sower went forth to sow. And I'm going to read through this parable real quick, and then, because it obviously, it breaks it down, afterwards. Verse 4, and when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up. Some fell upon stony places, where they had not much earth, and forth when they sprung up, because they had no deepness of earth. And when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had not root, they withered away. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprung up and choked them. But other fell into good ground and brought forth fruit, some 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. He who hath ears to hear, let him hear. Okay, so this is the parable that Yahushua just got done saying unto them. Well, the disciples go on to ask Yahushua, why speakest thou to them in parables? And Yahushua answered in verse 11, and he answered and said unto them, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. And this is where we're at here in 2026, where you have the majority of our people who still just cannot get these parables. And that reason is because it wasn't given unto them, to understand these things. And you're going to see that the majority of Israel falls under that category of the seeds that were taken up by the fowls. Okay, the birds of the air coming down and eating them, which is representative, first and foremost of Esau, but these other nations. Okay, but let's just get right to the point here. Let me just keep reading verse 12. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. And who are the ones that have? Have what? What is it that you're going to have that's going to be of any value in these times that we're getting ready to come in? It's faith. Okay? Faith is going to be what you must have in these days, and that's going to be valuable, because without faith, which is faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. If you don't have faith, you will perish. Okay, because you don't trust in the Heavenly Father. You don't believe in him. And the scriptures say that you must first believe that he is. Okay, so it goes on to say, therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear. Oh, Salakia, I didn't finish verse 12. Salakia. For whosoever hath, this verse 12, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. So those that have the faith in these days that we're going to come into, more faith is going to be given unto them, because as they get delivered from the troubles that they're going through, their faith is going to continue to increase at an exponential level, to the point to where you're going to have particular men out here performing miracles because of the faith that they have. Okay? It says, but whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away even that he hath. Right. And you have a lot of Israelites here on this earth that have no faith. So what's going to happen to them? The little bit that they do have, even that's going to be taken from them. And it's going to start with their mind. Okay. The little bit of sanity that these people have, that sanity is going to be taken away. Okay. Where you're going to start seeing a lot of people start to bug the hell out, because they are just, as the apostles always say, when people have nothing else to lose, they lose it. And the Lord is getting ready to strip a lot of people of everything that they hold dear onto. Okay, including their pride, including their strong-willed minds. The Lord is going to completely dismantle all of it. Okay. So it goes on to say, verse 13, therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, by hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand. Salakia, shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their ears, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. So at the end of the day, the Lord doesn't want to save all of Israel. So you have these other camps out here that are trying to unite all of Israel for all of us to come back together. Well, the Lord isn't coming to save everybody. He ain't coming to bring everybody back together. The Lord is coming to gather up the remnant, and that's it. The ones that are coming together are the remnant, not all of Israel. So Jake got to stop that shit, man. Or not. Keep doing what you're doing, man. You know? And we'll see at the end of the day what the Heavenly Father is going to have happen here on this earth. Okay? Verse 16, it says, but blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them. And this is speaking on the time period that we're in today. Because back then, when Yahushua was speaking unto the disciples, telling them, these prophecies, a lot of the prophecies written about to take place in the last days didn't happen because it wasn't the last days. Like Habakkuk chapter 2 says, the vision is yet for an appointed time, and in the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, for it shall surely come. And this is we're in that time the appointed time, man. So we're seeing these things take place now. So the prophets of old and even the disciples desired to see these things. And that's why they were so curious as to when exactly these things were going to happen, because they wanted to be prepared mentally for what was going to happen. But it didn't come in their lifetime. But now those same men, okay, including the 12 and the rest of those men that were back there alongside Yahushua awaiting these things to happen, are back here again, actually seeing these things take place. And those same men, you best believe, are remembering themselves to the extent that they know that they're men of the Lord. They might not, know exactly who they are or who they may, might have been back in the day. But we know that we are of the elect, Lord's will. Okay, because the Lord has awoken us up to the understanding of these things. So the Lord said that that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear and have not heard them. And so we're hearing these things now. And we guess what? We believed on these things taking place before they started to happen. And we're entering now into a time period where the preaching is about to end, because there's going to be full on green light, go ahead and take off time. Okay. And we're going to see these words written in this book jump off the pages and play themselves out here on this earth. Okay. So verse 18, hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. When one heareth the word of the kingdom and understandeth it not, then cometh the wicked one and catches away that which was sown in his heart. This is he which received seed by the wayside. And you have had a lot of Israelites that have fallen away from this truth because of particularly Esau. Okay, but all these different other nations that have things in place to take Jake away from, fully getting into this word, man. Okay. That being your career, your woman, societal stresses, such as, oh, well, if I go following after this, I fear that people are going to, dislike me, or, yada, 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 so on and so forth. And you have a lot of people, well, no, actually, no, Salakia, that actually going into a different one of the seed that fell amongst the thorns. But you have these devils, and we see it at camps. Okay, when you have an Israelite that's coming up and he's asking questions, and then you get another clown, an Edomite, come up and start telling you don't got to listen to them. These guys are full of shit. They're, John 3:16 bullshit, and they try to take you away. Okay, so verse 20, it says, but he that received the seed into stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and with joy receiveth it. Yet hath he not root in himself, but dureth for a while. For when tribulation or persecution ariseth, and this is what we're getting ready to come into, the true testing of those that call themselves having faith. For when tribulation or persecution ariseth because of the word, by and by he is offended. And we're gonna see a lot of these people, and it's through the Spirit that the Apostle Tahar deemed this year the year of the apostates, sellouts, and the agents. Okay? Because we're going to see a lot of people as apostates who will give up the faith here in these times that we're getting ready to come into because of the persecution. Okay? It says, verse 22, he also that receives seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becometh unfruitful. And as far as the chip goes, now we've already seen this taking place with certain men not wanting to be, thinking that they can't give up the things of this world that they have. They can't see themselves like, here in particular in Tampa, we had a cat in the camp before. His name was Shawab, which was an omen that his name was given that. But we had given him the name Shawab because in our minds, he was returning from the world, coming back to the truth. But in all actuality, his name meant that he was going to return back to the world. And that's what ended up happening. He bowed out, like a man, so to say. He actually said it, spoke to a couple of the brothers and said, hey, I can't give things up like you guys did. It's just not for him. And he gave up. And hey, at least he admitted it. You have some Jake that fake the funk and really behind closed doors, they backbiters and scorning, mad as hell, have an attitude. Well, hey, no one's holding you here prisoner, man. Just go ahead and go. But now we're getting into a time to where this RFID microchip, the mark of the beast, is getting ready to be implemented. And that's going to be a true test of who has the care of this world, who's going to be choked up by the cares of this world. Because when push comes to shove and this chip is made mandatory, you're going to have some men calling themselves serving the Lord that are going to fold up under pressure and get that chip because of cares of this world and the riches. Okay, whether it be the care of your woman and the kids, and you don't want to see them suffer, so you go and get that chip. Or whether it be the money that you got or your job, you don't want to lose that job, so you go and get this chip because of fear of that. Again, man, this is something that's this parable of the seed is going to be very prominent here in these days that we're coming into, man. This time of tribulation. Okay, we're gonna see a lot of these examples out here in real life, man. Okay, it says verse 23, but he that receiveth seed into the good ground is he that heareth the word and understandeth it, which also beareth fruit and bringeth forth some a hundredfold, some 60, and some 30, and that's going to be the elect. Okay, starting with the 144,000. They're the ones that are going to bring forth that fruit. Okay, they're the ones that hear the word and understand it. Okay, and bring back to the Lord that which is his with usury. That's going to be the elect. And those men are going to be witnessed as well. Because the works that they've worked here on this earth, when the Lord comes time to bring about this trouble upon the earth, the Lord is going to reward them with the reward of the righteous by keeping them from these evils. And let's just, I like going into this verse here in Proverbs chapter 1, verse 33, because this is exactly what the Lord is going to bring unto those that are serving him. Proverbs 1 and 33, but whoso hearkeneth unto me, again, those that hear this word and understand it, shall dwell safely and shall be quiet from fear of evil. You see? And we go into it all the time. That word evil meaning bad times. Okay? So the Lord is going to keep those that fell on the good side. He's going to keep them safe. But everything else, all those that the seeds that fell amongst the thorns, you're going to see them bugging the hell out. A lot of them dudes falling out the truth, getting that chip. Some might call themselves staying in the truth and go get the chip, in secret. Okay? Because of how choked up they are about the cares of this world, man. Okay? You're going to have those that get taken. Let me pull it back up again. You're going to have those that, that spring up quick, that, they've been in this thing for a good bit, but they were never really fully rooted. And as soon as this trouble comes, these dudes end up falling under pressure, man. Or you have these men that have sold out. They're going to be revealed. Okay? So, it was just something that as I was reading, the Spirit just hopped on me to speak on that. Because, again, when we get ready to, when we enter into, the climax of Jacob's trouble, which, we're quickly approaching, this parable here is going to be something that's going to be standing out, here and again, like I said, in real life, man. It's going to be something that's going to actually be visible. We're going to be able to see this parable here taking place. Okay? So, Lord's will, this was edifying. I want to give all the praise and all the glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachahakwadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles of Great Millstone, and much blessing and salutations unto the Akim around the four corners of the earth who are diligently pushing out his truth and his truth and sincerity. With that, I say Shalom.